All right. Tally, welcome. All right. Everyone is rolling in. If you guys are over in Instagram, I'm sorry, if you're over in Periscope or YouTube land, give me a comment there. That's the only way that I could see that you're there because I'm restreaming. I'm checking to see if I'm live over here in YouTube land right now. But if you can, shoot me a message. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone enjoyed their 4th of July weekend. And Wrinkler, good morning to you as well. Yes, it was quite crazy. I'm going to tell you guys about it. I can't tell if that's going live over there or not. Let me see. There we go. All right, that's good. Oh, Jack Murphy in the house. How you doing, Jack? Thank you for tuning in. I hope you had a good 4th of July. You had a good a vacation there. So, all right, guys, here's the thing. We had a lot going on, and I just wanted to catch you guys back up. This week, we dropped the Keith Ferrazzi episode. He talked a lot about leading with empathy, and I hope you guys check out that podcast. I had already gotten some feedback for it this morning. People are really enjoying that episode, and Keith does a great job at talking about empathy and leading with it. For myself, I've certainly have realized that through all of this, LA is rolling back into its second lockdown for 3 weeks. And I have to say, and this is for everybody out there, for those of us who have been lucky enough in this moment to continue working, to have friends to communicate with, to be able to not sweat too bad your situation while we go through this, make sure that you have enough compassion to understand that not everybody is in the situation that you're in. And because of that, people are going to be a bit uptight. Obviously, we all see the social fabric sort of deteriorating a bit during all this. But at the same time, we need to lead through the seat that we're in. And what I mean by that is for us to show empathy, for us to show some understanding, because that is going to have some ripple effects, and we're going to be able to communicate to the people who are in position to strengthen our point of view and worldview through all this. And the more people that we have on our side with the correct worldview, leading with empathy, being able to show that compassion, well, we weaken the other side. And it allows us to add our attention to the things that matter in this situation. Because I have certainly noticed, and I'm sure all of you guys have as well, that the news certainly doesn't have us focusing on what's important. The news has us focusing on division and insanity and fear and the rest of that. We've been talking about that. So I just wanted to point that out. And then also, so I don't know about you guys, who here has seen what happened in Los Angeles over 4th of July weekend? Now, I don't know all the particulars of this, but it's funny. My next door neighbor, a few weeks ago, as we had noticed that the amount of fireworks that were going off in Los Angeles in the last few weeks seemed a bit more than usual. I lived in Hollywood, and specifically Hollywood Boulevard, for the last 10 years. And I don't remember, let me find this, so many fireworks going off leading up to 4th of July. And then, of course, our lovely mayor said that there was going to be no 4th of July celebrations this year, and that there's not going to be any fireworks going off. Well, funny that you should say that. It seems that Los Angeles folks had a different idea of how they were going to celebrate 4th of July. And I got to hand it to the people of Los Angeles. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to try to. That. So that was the scene in Los Angeles over Saturday evening. I mean, if you look at that picture, that visual is a city that is not laying down for another month of coronavirus lockdown. That is a scene of a city that is celebrating its uniqueness and diversity and freedoms. Now, if we could just get everyone on the same page, perhaps we can work our way out of some of this mess. But that takes a lot of compassion, understanding, empathy, and compromise and communication. We can't play this game of my way or the highway. So in the Keith Ferrazzi episode this week that we dropped, please check it out. Keith is basically one of those guys who has all the CEOs' numbers. When the CEOs have an issue or a task at hand, Keith Ferrazzi is one of those understanding voices that they tend to reach out to gain some insight on how to handle their particular situation. And Keith coined a term in his new book, which is called co-elevation. Now, at The Art of Charm, we've talked about the value that you add to your community, to your social situation, your social circle, and by the value that you're adding, you're going to see a return. You're going to see attention, approval, and acceptance come your way when you are able to. Well, thank you very much, Henson. Henson says, thank you for the wonderful content. I appreciate that. When you are adding value and you are lifting up the people that are around you, they inevitably want to look for reasons and ways to give that back. There was the way we've referred to it at AOC was a cooperative mindset. And I love the way Keith coined the term, at least that's the way he put it, of co-elevation. So now that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a co-elevation. How do we put together waves that rise all ships? How are we going to be the ones who are going to make those waves that are going to rise all ships? Well, first and foremost, it's going to take some understanding. However, in that picture of why I wanted to show you this, of Los Angeles going full rage on their fireworks display, which shows to me a willingness and an excitement and a togetherness for Los Angeles. And when I saw that Saturday night, despite all the turmoil and the unsettledness of people's anger and frustration and fear to the situation that is going on, to see that on 4th of July, I don't know. Part of me was extreme. There was a smile on my face that seeing a city celebrate in such a way, and we didn't have as far as I'm aware, outside of the ridiculous fireworks display, really any other anger or torment or um, unsettling optics that have been going on for the last few weeks. So cautiously optimistic, but also a feeling of excitement there. So that was what was going on in Los Angeles. I hope for the rest of you guys, you enjoyed your holiday break too. I hope that some of you got to see some family. I hadn't had that opportunity. As you guys know, I've been stuck in Hollywood Boulevard for quite some time. And then even last night, realizing that we were back down on a lockdown, I was a bit, those waves of uncertainty and depression come through. But I woke up in an incredible mood today. So I'm excited about that. But co-elevation is going to be what is going to get us all out of this. Everyone's got to come with us. Everyone has to rise up to that challenge. And we're going to need to be the leaders and leading with empathy in order to do that. My point with the fireworks display, though, my next door neighbor had said that he had stumbled upon an article that all these firework companies found themselves in a predicament that they had way too much inventory because of the celebrations that were shut down all across the country, and that the police in Los Angeles had found themselves swamped with illegal fireworks because of this very situation. Now, what I was laughing about was like, oh, well, that would make sense for leading up to 4th of July. We've been hearing a lot of extracurricular activity, but I did not expect what I had seen there. So, there's a cause and effect to everything. And it's interesting when you see certain things happen to see how it will play out in other worlds. Well, you shut down 4th of July events. You shut down 4th of July celebrations. You shut down firework displays. Well, we saw the cause and effect right there. I was laughing. I had friends who were posting pictures of palm trees that were on fire because of bottle rockets hitting them. And obviously that's awful. And I don't want anyone's house, the property, to be on fire. But it was such a common thing over the holiday. I couldn't help but chuckle about that. So I don't know if other cities had that same issue, but I had never seen anything like that in Los Angeles, and I enjoyed seeing it. Put a smile on my face. Hello, Nicole. Welcome to our morning show. It's good to see you again. I want to say hello to some more people. Sparka Sass, welcome. Thank you very much for being here this morning. Charlie, thank you for being here this morning. It's great to see you. Christina in Venice, thank you for coming in. And Vaughn's, welcome to the show this morning. Holy Sinus, welcome to the show this morning. And Podcast Haven, welcome. So with that, I just want to remind everybody that as we're now in July, some places are shutting back down. The frustrations are going to be upset, but I think for a lot of the social civil strife that we've been having, JM, I fucking love this country. Well, this country loves you, JM. Thank you for that comment. I agree. I don't know. How was the 4th of July in your area? Was it off the hook? Did you have what Los Angeles had in fireworks display? That was probably the greatest firework display I have ever seen in my life. And it wasn't. And the other thing about it was that the fireworks that were in everybody's yards was because of all the events getting canceled. It was weapons grade, like high end fireworks. And they were going off all through the night to wee hours. And I'm talking heavy ass explosions. And there was a part there, there is a part in human nature when you hear that much racket. And I live on the boulevard. It was all around me. You couldn't look in any direction and not see a ridiculous amount of firepower. But I remember hearing it in my body rocking as I was trying to go to sleep after another massive bomb. It was quite exhilarating. JM, true patriots, lighting off fireworks as a friend and I left the hike, which we did on mushrooms. Best ending to a trip. Thanks, my compatriots. Well, right on, JM. That rules. And as a person who has dabbled in psychedelics, especially as a rebellious teenager, I can imagine hiking on a trail on shrooms, fireworks going off. JM, that sounds quite patriotic to me. And I could only imagine how that got your juices flowing. Right on, my man. It sounds like you had a good one. Charlie, I am trying to follow what is going on in the U.S., but I see what is going on in Florida compared what you just told. Well, yeah, the fireworks display were quite crazy. Well, thank you, JM. I do rock. This is the one thing I can do. All right. Oh, man, imagine the headache shooting off the fireworks. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Elo. I belong to several different neighborhood groups here in Los Angeles. And unfortunately, for some of the stuffy people, they were complaining about the fireworks all evening. I will say this. You're always going to have people who are going to complain. You're always going to have people who are going to be upset no matter what you're going to want to do. But I, for one, enjoyed seeing the celebrations, seeing the fireworks, and seeing people tell our mayor that we will have 4th of July celebrations. And I got to say, I don't know about you all, but in East LA, the East LA is not playing around when it comes to barbecues and fireworks and 4th of July. They go off every year. They wait for 4th of July for that crowd. They go off. They love it. So, somebody's saying it's slow net over in YouTube land. I don't know what that means. Are we having difficulties? I'm sorry to hear that. All right. So, as I was mentioning, 4th of July was certainly interesting. I wasn't expecting all that, but it put a smile on my face. And then as I also woke up today in an incredible mood, and it's not like the news has given me anything to be excited about. In fact, the first thing I do when I get up is I put some coffee on, and then I do my prison yard workout here in my living room because I don't have a gym at the time being, thanks to Corona. But I got my kettlebells out. I started doing my workout, and I'll throw some news on just to catch up of what I have going on, and at least it helps me get my head in the right space. Maybe I'll find some content to talk to you guys. And the only thing the news did today was piss me off like it always does. But yet I had woken up in such a good mood that the news couldn't even knock me off of my game if it even tried. And I need to be careful of that morning news because it's been difficult to keep it together when it's just nothing but more and more gloom and doom from the usual suspects. But I'm really excited, and I also decided this week, as I have been winding down social media throughout the week, throughout the last few weeks, I'm going to continue to wind it down even more so, because what I saw over 4th of July is people who are trying to deal with this situation to the best of their abilities, and that is really all that we can do. As I mentioned, I'm incredibly lucky to be able to have meaningful work to apply myself through while this is going on. I couldn't imagine to be locked in the house without having my opportunity for work, to make money, to feel safe. I mean, our jobs, whether you know it or not, give us a certain amount of purpose. Now, not every job has that service value or that value that we get when we're reaching out and helping others around us. Even the cashier at Trader Joe's is performing a service that, if for that we need, that keeps society civil. I mean, there's a very important, and the other thing that a lot of this psychological experiment that all of us were thrown into of coronavirus, it has certainly showed us how fragile our society is, and the smallest of things of knocking us off of our regular schedule, how frustrating that is to all of us. And when people are showing videos of people who are frustrated, who are fed up, who have finally snapped due to being frustrated and anxiety filled for weeks to months on end, anytime that you go to share another frightened Karen losing her mind, think about what you're doing in that moment. Think about how you're adding to the anxiety and the frustrations that people are feeling. Do we need to see what is going on around us? Yes, absolutely. And I think there's a way to be informed without adding to the fire. And I think all of us need to be careful of that. That is one of the first things that I have been thinking about every time I'm on Twitter. When I'm on Twitter, when I'm looking at what's going on, and every time that I feel the need to retweet something out, I tend to think to myself, outside of the people who I am in a silo with on social media, am I adding to this situation, or am I taking away from this situation? And if I'm adding to it, what is it that I'm adding? Am I adding frustration? Am I adding anger? Do I need to be fueling this situation any more than it might already, at the heights that it might already be at? I think all of us need to have a little bit more compassion and empathy for the situation. A lot of us, we need to have news sources that are not part of a corporation or a news entity that has an agenda. And our friends have coined the term info militias. I could give that to Jack, who was listening earlier. Info militias are going to be our news sources that are only reporting the news without an agenda attached to it. When is the last time that you circulated an article or a news bit that wasn't part of a major of a major agenda, organization, or movement. That's very important to understand, because it is those, every time that you retweet something, you're adding and you are fueling all the insanity, the misinformation that's going on. Charlie says we're struggling to keep on trying to do the things that we are used to do. Absolutely. That's hard for the Philippines. You'll have to explain that one to me, Hennison. So think about those things today as you're going out in the week. Think about your role in society. Think about your role in your friends group. Think about leading from the seat you're in, and think about taking the lead that you're in and leading with empathy. And if you want to understand how to lead with empathy so that you may influence others to do the same, so we have a little bit more of understanding and in how others are, the fear that others are feeling in a situation, well, check out this week's episode of the Art of Charm podcast with Keith Ferrazzi. Keith is also born in my hometown. Unbeknownst to me, we found it on the podcast. And not only that, as I mentioned, Keith is an incredible guy. He has all the most he has Tony Robbins on speed dial. I mean, these are the people that Keith Ferrazzi go to. Keith Ferrazzi is one of the guys that these people go to when they need advice. It was a beautiful podcast. I had already been written many times this morning of how much people enjoyed that episode. So check it out. And I want you guys to have an incredible week. Now, Croft Kid says, can you sing before it's too late for me? Well, I don't know what you mean. I am not a singer, my friend. I am a guitar player. However, I will sing the hell out of some tunes in the shower. And if I'm driving, which I haven't had a car in 15 years, I will be the loudest one singing in my car with the radio on. And Animal can testify what an incredible singer I'm on. Charlie says, think about what you could do with this show and ask yourself what the impact can be and what sort of energy you are sending out. Well, I thank you, Charlie. I think about that every morning. And every morning when I get on this show, I want to be smiling and I want to be laughing because I want you guys to be smiling and laughing. So this week, we have a lot going on. Check out the Keith Ferrazzi episode. Also, if you enjoyed a lot of what I've talked about today and you are interested in learning more about rapport, connection, networking, and influence, check out the Art of Charm Communication Accelerator. It is in the Linktree bio. It is on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find it in the description of our YouTube videos. It is rad. Check it out. Let's talk about the concepts in it. It makes you a better person and a better leader. All right, guys, I got to head out. I will see you all tomorrow. Yes. Henderson says, do it. Yes, do it. JM says you should do the national anthem on guitar, especially for today. You know what? In order for me, JM, to play the national anthem on guitar, I would have to make it my own, sort of like Jimi Hendrix did, because that is, to me, as a guitar player, one of the most beautiful renditions of the national anthem, especially for that time period. I will tell you, JM, because of your comment, my top three songs of America that I was raised on were CCR, Fortunate Son, Steppenwolf, and Jimi Hendrix, National Anthem. Those are my three. Why? Yes, I know that those are late 60s tunes, but that's what I was raised on by my parents. All right, guys, I got to head out of here. I have another meeting. It's great to see you guys this morning. See you tomorrow at 8:30. You guys rule. Check out the new episode we dropped today.